Good.
Okay, we're recording. Ruben, I'm going to be going to the Shiva Brachas, so
Joy.
all the very best.
Joy.
We're recording now. Bye. And a Chodesh Tov, everyone, and a
Chodesh
Shabbat
Tov,
Shalom.
Chodesh Tov.
חודש טוב, we should have בשורות טובות, to hear only good news.
Yeah. It was too terrible looking at the TV today. I mean, I don't understand Netanyahu allowing,
I actually didn't see. Well, what was today?
the way they treated those hostages, pushing them, shoving them, and
the Arabs.
yeah, the Chazas Hamas.
Hamas.
I mean, gee. I mean,
What is in
he
the
should
news?
never, ever have allowed that to happen. He should have made sure before he even agreed to it that they don't humiliate. I mean, they humiliated.
Where did you see? It was in the news?
On the BBC. It was there.
Well, was it in the news?
Yeah. Yeah, it was terrible. So eventually he got Sheikhel and he turned around. He said he's not going to release any more Palestinians unless they stop doing what they're doing. I mean, that he didn't think of it before, I can't understand it. I mean, absolute disgrace. And this poor girl, this army girl, she looked terrified. You've never seen anything like this, Arav. It was a Rahmona second to none. I don't know. Yeah.
Where did you see it? In the news?
Yeah, it's on the BBC. We got DSTV, so we watched the BBC International News. It was on there.
I didn't have a chance yet. I heard about it, but I didn't see it. They said it was too terrible the way they treated them.
And this man of 80 years old, and the way they pushed him, and I mean, it's a total disgrace.
Animals.
Absolutely. They're not animals. Animals don't do that. This is how to say evil human beings.
Okay, so we can start. Michael is here.
Yeah, Michael.
How are you? How's everybody? All good. Thank God.
How is the weather like in South Africa?
Boiling hot.
Hot? Wow.
Boiling hot. Tonight the temperature is 19, I believe.
Okay, so we are in the middle of 21A2. We started last week a reference to the Mishnah that says when the woman drinks this water. Thank you. The woman drinks the water. Sometimes the water doesn't work straight away because she may have some merits, and the merits can postpone the execution or the result of the water. It can be for a year, 2 and 3. And the Gemorra, when they started last week, asking what merit can it be? Is it a merit of Torah study, that the woman was studying Torah and this is a merit? It can't be, because a woman is not obligated to learn Torah. So you can't say it's good because of Torah learning. Then must be that the merit can be of performing a mitzvah. And then the Gemorra makes a comparison what a mitzvah can protect. That a mitzvah is like a candle. A candle gives you light temporarily. So the mitzvah, the merit of a mitzvah can also be for temporarily. However, a merit of Torah, this is like light of from the sun. So this is something which can you light for the whole time, and so Torah also is like light, which is not limited. Furthermore, the Gemorra quotes that what the Torah, the merit of Torah, there is a verse which says, when you walk, it will guide you, etc. And what does it mean? When you walk, is referring to a man's life in this world. And the verse continues to say, and when you lie down, it will watch over you. And the Gemorra interprets this words, which means reference to death. It will watch you after you die. And then it says, when you wake up, it will advocate for you, is a reference to the future world. In other words, the Olam Haba, or after Mashiach, Tchiat HaMetim, when maybe the dead will be revived. So this is what the Gemorra want to say, to make a comparison, the protection between Torah study and to a mitzvah, protection of a mitzvah. And the Gemorra tries to give a moshlo. If you go to 28:2, in the first paragraph, about 10 lines, 10, 11 lines, 10 lines, 3, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. The Gemorra says, it's kind of an analogy to show the difference between a protection of a mitzvah to a protection of Torah. Mashal Adam Shaya Ma'alech. This is distinction between the merit of Torah, Torah study, and merit of mitzvah observance. The analogy is to a person who is walking in the black of night and darkness, and was afraid of walking into unseen thrones, cervixes, or crevices, and thistles, all kind of stumblings, and is afraid of being attacked by wild animals and bandits. So he doesn't know which road he should take, what road he's talking. Now, if he have the torch of fire comes his way, then he will be saved from all these troubles that can happen, because he knows how to walk and to avoid all the obstacles and the wild animals and the bandits and so on. However, he says he's still afraid of being attacked by wild animals and bandits. And still he doesn't know. So he's got light that he can walk without having any stumbles on his way, but he still don't know which way to turn. Once the light of dawn rises, then he's saved from all this. The Gemorra says, in other words, then he's saved from wild animals and bandits, but still he doesn't know when he comes to a crossroad, but when he's got a full day, then he knows where to turn. So this is what you want to say when a person is in the world, although he's doing a mitzvah, so he gets reward, but he doesn't give him full light not to fall into any kind of troubles. Torah study, this saves him from all kind of troubles. Now, this Gemorra can't to explain it in at length, which you can read it. At the last line of the first paragraph, דבר אחר, another explanation, another analogy, or another explanation to make the distinction between Torah study and a mitzvah performance. Aveira mechaba mitzvah, transgression, extinguish the reward of prior mitzvah. So yes, a person for observing and performing a mitzvah, there is a reward. But sometimes the transgression can extinguishes the reward which is deserved for a mitzvah. The Aveira, the sin, can can delete the reward of mitzvah. However, a transgression does not extinguish the reward for Torah study. Based on a text as it's written, many waters cannot extinguish love. So the performance of a mitzvah does not provide so much protection when to save the Sotah from immediate death. So this is what a continuation of the whole thing to understand what the Mishnah says. There is a possibility that the Sotah will not be punished straight away because merit. And the Gemorra tries to find out what kind of a merit. Merit of mitzvah, then she is entitled to, but is not as a merit of Torah study because she is not obligated to study Torah. Then the Gemorra still want to say not to minimize the protection of a mitzvah. Amar Rav Yosef, mitzvah, at the time that one is involved in performing a mitzvah, it protects him from punishment and saves him from sinning. However, at the time that one is not involved in the performing it any longer, it protects him from punishment, but does not save him from sinning. In other words, the protection that he gets does not protect him for future sinning. Unlike Torah study, in the case of Torah study, whether at the time that he is involved in learning or whether the time that he is not involved with it, it protects him from punishment and saves him from sinning in the future. So that when the writer said the Torah provides protection, it's an everlasting protection, means that by study Torah it will be protected against evil inclination in the future not to sin. And this is what means the Torah is like light.
לא לרעב.
שלום, מה אתה עושה כאן?
אני...
באת לשבת? מה?
בעזרת השם, בהמשך אני גם אבוא לשבת.
מה?
אני גם אבוא, אני מגיע לשבת בעזרת השם. טוב.
באת לכאן לקחת משהו?
כן. כן.
Okay.
שיהיה לך גוד שבס.
Good Shabbos.
תגיד זאת להתראות זה יהיה.
I won't see you on Shabbat. Okay. Matkiv Rabba, the Gemorra, so to speak, takes this statement of Rav Yosef that the merit of a mitzvah does not give you a punishment, protects you from punishment in the future. So said, now that you say the Torah study forever protects a person from sinning, we can ask. Now, Doeg and Achitophel, the two of them, there is a whole story. I wonder, who were Doeg and Achitophel? If you turn the page to 28.3, the footnote 28, Doeg was the advisor of King Saul, who slandered David to him, and thereby brought about the destruction of Nob, the city of Kohanim. The whole chapter in Samuel. Achitophel is also, he was highly regarded sage and advisor to King David, who deserted the king in favor of David's reneged son of Avshalom. So both Doeg and Achitophel were Torah scholars. And yet, the fact that they were Torah scholars and studied Torah didn't protect them from sinning. So the question, if you say the study Torah saves and protects a person from sinning, we don't understand why Doeg and Achitophel were Torah studies and they sinned, and then afterwards their penalty, the punishment was they were put to death. So the Gemorra Rava now makes a little bit of a correction to the comparison. case of Torah study, the time that one is involved in it, it protects him from punishment and saves him from sinning. However, at the time that one is not involved in any longer, it protects him from punishment, but does not save him from sinning. However, in case of a mitzvah, whether the time that one is involved with it or whether the time that is not involved with it any longer, it protects him from punishment, but does not save him from sinning. The whole thing is just to try to understand what is the reward, a greater reward for Torah study when you come to compare it to acting a mitzvah. The Gemorra continues to the same kind of to the value of Torah study. The Gemorra comes another second understanding the merit that can save a Sotah from immediate punishment. Ravina Amar, actually, as considered originally, the merit that protects the Sotah is specifically the merit of Torah study. However, you ask a question, how can it protect Sotah, the Torah study? She is not performs a precept without having commanded to do. So the Gemorra now comes to another point to say, yes, there is a woman can obviously get some reward and protection for performing a mitzvah from Torah study, but it's not that she does not get reward for Torah study, but she doesn't get the reward in full as if she would be commanded to study and studies. So if she studies Torah, which means voluntarily, not she commanded to, then it is limited in the following way. The reward of Torah study for women generate by making their son I actually I think I skipped a point 1 second. Oh, yeah. He said, yes, a woman is not commanded to study Torah, but then she has a reward for something causing her family to study. And this is what he said, the reward for the Torah study that woman generates by making their sons read and study, by getting them off to school, the day the mother of the children, she gets a reward for the sake that she is preparing the children to go to school. Of course, we are talking about to go to school to study Torah. And in addition to it, and they waiting for the husband until they comes from study hall in another town. So this is a way, although the husband, the men who are commanded to study, and they've got a full reward, but you cannot ignore the share that the women gets the reward for the children's study and the husband's study, because she makes it possible for her husband and for their children to study, and therefore she gets a reward for it. But it's not like the study of herself, if she herself, but she herself still not commanded to study. So there is something here, I think we already discussed it. The Gemorra says, couple places, there is no comparison for the reward that a person gets for performing a mitzvah that is obligated to a mitzvah that he does voluntarily, not obligated. It's against our understanding. Of course, we will say, if a person is not commanded to do the mitzvah, and yet he's doing the mitzvah, surely he should have more reward than a person that he does because he's obligated. But the Gemorra has got such a statement, voluntarily he gets a reward, but not as much if a person performs the mitzvah because of obligation. And I think the reason, if we try to give a reason, because when a person, I think we've discussed it once, when a person does a mitzvah voluntarily, he does it not because God commands him to do it. He does it because he himself likes to do it. And mitzvah means, the ideal of mitzvah is that you're doing because you are commanded to do. But this you show your loyalty, that you follow God's commandment. But if you do it because you like to do it yourself, there is no much understanding that you are doing it because God commands you to do it. It's against what we will understand. We understand if a person does things voluntarily, surely he should be, his merit is bigger. But the approach of Chazal, of the rabbis, I think this is the way which I try to understand, that the word comes because you carry on not what you like, but you carry on what God tells you to do. So if you do because God commands you to do, then the reward is bigger because it shows you are doing, fulfilling a commandment of God. But let us say if a person does a mitzvah, nothing to do because God commanded. I like to do this thing. Let's say a person likes to give charity because he's got a good heart and so on. Of course, very commendable, very commendable. But when you're talking about as kind of a mitzvah, which means carrying on God's commandment, is not, he doesn't do it because God tells you to do it. You do it because you like to do it. It's a good art. And I think also, from another point of view, the difficulties that a person has when God commands him, and he not particularly like to do it, but he does it because God commands you to do against what may be his personal wish, then again, this is something that you do because God tells you to do it. Then the reward is more than because do it. I don't do it whether I don't like it, but I do it because I don't do it because God said it, because I like to do it. Then actually you do it because you like it, not because God tell you to do it. It's a very kind of concept which is not be understood, because we will say if a person does something special, let us say an example. We would think if a person voluntarily does something, surely it should be more appreciated than the person that
It's for you.
no, than the person does that is commanded to. Let's say if a pupil in the school, if we Reuven, you are the teacher, you have got two pupils. One does because a commandment, you have to do it. This is the instruction, you have to do it. Somebody else, another pupil, he does it, and not because there is no rules that you have to do it, but I like to do it. Obviously, our simple understanding would be the one that does it when even he is not commanded to do it, he should be more appreciated. But this is one way if you look at what he does. But if we are looking about in a relationship with God, if you do it because God tells you to do it, means you do it as following God's instruction. But if you do it voluntarily because you like to do it, there's nothing to do with God. Yes, the performance of the mitzvah by itself deserves a reward, but it's not like if you do it because Hashem tells you to do it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I was just thinking that if you take the guy who's a miser and he doesn't like giving charity, but he does give charity because he believes in Hashem, he goes against his own very nature and fulfills the mitzvah, going against what he personally doesn't feel that he believes. So therefore, there's like a special schus that he gets because of he's going against his own will and his own personality.
Exactly, yeah, you put it right. So this is interesting, but usually a person, if you ask a person in the street, somebody that he has to do it because so is the law, a person does it not because this is the law, because he likes to do it. So our simple reaction will be, yeah, the person does it, he should get more reward. But that's right, but in one way. But when we are talking about who is the one that observes the law, which shows then as you put it in a very good way. The person that's that he has got, when you say Meiser, has got the inclination, the Yetzirah says, don't do it. And nevertheless he does it. That means he goes over their instinct and so on, compared to a person that he likes to do it, but nothing to do with the rule, and nothing to do with the God. So from a perspective of God-fearing, obviously the person that does it because God tells him to do is more rewarded. That's what the Gemorra comes up with. Then the Gemorra continues to say, when we said before a crossroad, what is the crossroad to which the Braita refers? Says Rav Chizda, De Talmid Chacham v'Yom Ital. This is Torah scholar and the day of death. So this is the crossroad. We'll see in a minute. Rav Nachman says this is the Torah scholar and the fear of sin. Sotah says this is a Torah scholar for whom a topic is clarified until it merges according to the halacha. So this means that the person is has got has got questions or has got doubts what road to go. Again, this wisdom, scholar, you understand, or fear of sin, which this is similar to what we said before, being commanded or just doing voluntarily. Then the Gemorra ends up, דבר אחר, the last sentence, דבר אחר, another explanation of the comparison between a candle or lamplight and a Torah which it's a light himself. The transgression extinguishes the reward of a prior mitzvah just as a lamp can be extinguished. However, when a person is a Torah scholar, a Torah study, although that he failed and is doing some wrong, the transgression does not extinguish the reward of Torah study, just as the light itself cannot be extinguished. Now, the end of this comes, Amar Rav Yosef, Rabbi Nachem, the author of the Braita, stated its opening verse, expounded this verse as what we say about Achitophel and Doeg. Heard the exposition at Sinai, said he praised it like he heard it in Sinai. Had the Doeg and the Achitophel expounded it this way, if they would understand as it was explained what is Torah and what is a mitzvah, they would not have pursued David because they actually did something wrong, were David's enemies, whatever, and because it's written, the enemies of David saying God has forsaken him. In other words, they misunderstood what the verse is. What verse did, they expounded to make them think that God had forsaken David. And now, why? Because David sinned with a woman for which David, the story which we had before, Uriah, that he sent him to the war and then so on, and the child died. He was punished, and David, he sinned, they accepted it, that he sinned, and he regretted and asked for forgiveness, but they thought because of that, what David sinned, he is not having got any credits anymore. Say they don't know, which we said before, the difference between Torah study to a mitzvah. They did not know, as Menachem expounded, a transgression extinguishes the reward of a mitzvah, but a transgression does not extinguish the reward of Torah study. So although that David failed and he sinned, but this did not extinguish, does not wipes out the credit that David had for Torah study. And they didn't appreciate this. They thought that if you did the mitzvah and after you sinned, then there is no credit, and therefore they thought they can try and rebel against David.
All right, you got 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, I just want to call to end, because this will come the end of the page. The Gemorra said there is what does the verse means when he says, it says, they would surely scorn him if were a man to offer all the treasure of his own for love, they would surely scorn Amarula. Not like refer to arrangement like Shimon, the brother of Azariah, the Rabbi Yochanan ben Nisia. All this, the Gemorra bring examples that two brothers or two scholars, they made an agreement. One was doing a business, and he shared with the other person who the Torah scholar shared with the person that was in business. So this is the way that they try to explain this verse, that there is no much, you can't really, it's very great sharing, but the fact that you're doing business and you don't study Torah, it's not like if you would have studied Torah. A partnership between one who studied Torah and one supports him is an effective arrangement if made in advance of Torah study. But no amount of wealth can buy the reward of Torah that has already been studied. This is what the Gemorra finishes off with this verse. Okay, so we finish the page.
Very interesting.
And next week, please God, we'll turn and we'll go to the second page, 21b1. Okay.
Thank you, Rav.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Have a good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
And
everyone
everyone should
stays
be
healthy.
well.
Good.
Shabbos, Michael.
Shabbos. Thank you.
Shabbos.